welcome back. C&D's Booze Reviews, the #1 podcast in Greenwood County, Kansas, possibly Southeast Kansas.
Pretty high possibility, I think.
I did see on Facebook. I'm not even going to mention the name.
Okay.
I'm not even going to mention the town. It's
Somewhere yonder.
It's east of us.
Okay.
And apparently somebody, I don't even know who it is. I just saw it on Facebook. They are starting a podcast.
Oh, all right.
I don't think it's going to be competition for us because...
Hey, big shout out to them.
Nope.
No, okay.
No. It's a sports show.
Oh, all right.
And the only way I will give them props is if, because it's about a specific sport. And, hey, if they want to have me on, then I'll say the name of it.
But all right. So
I'm not saying the sport.
Are you not going to reach out to them? Or?
No. Listen, I'm not going to say what sport it is, but in this particular sport, a bit of a local legend, all right, in this area of the state of Kansas.
All right, well, that was a dead giveaway.
So if they want to reach out, then sure, I'll entertain the idea. I got to look at my schedule, talk to my agent, stuff like that. But,
yeah, I got it.
But anyway, yeah, episode 23.
Yep.
My week.
It was your week.
This will air the day after the Super Bowl, so obviously right now we don't know who won, but you're either going to be really happy on Monday or really sad.
I can't be sad, 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much better than that, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, I know. We haven't been to one since 2011.
Well, we weren't even supposed to go this year, so, I mean, this was just an added bonus for me.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, my week to pick the movie, and I wrestled with this one because Chase has been really picking some heat, some really good movies, and I'm starting to feel like your movies have been better than mine, and it's kind of making me a little insecure because I'm like, okay, are people going to think that, like, I suck at movies? But I knew I wanted to do, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I knew I wanted to do my favorite actor, Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
The thing that made me struggle with this is he's like 1,000 years old, and he's got so many movies.
Yeah, he has a ton.
And, a very high percentage of them are really, really good. Mm-hmm. And obviously we can't do too many Clint Eastwood movies because then people are going to think that I'm, only picking those. So it's like, I got it between two, and I got it between one of his older ones that's, in my opinion, probably my favorite Clint Eastwood movie because of the metaphors that are in this movie, but also because of the personal memory I have with the movie.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about picking one of his newer movies in his older age that's so good, Gran Torino. Mm-hmm. But I ended up picking this one. This is High Plains Drifter. I don't know that this is one of his more popular ones because when you think of Clint Eastwood, you think of like Outlaw Josie Wales, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Dirty Harry, stuff like that.
This is one I actually hadn't seen before.
I'm sure you hadn't. That's really why I picked it. But anyway, it was made in 1973. It looks a lot older than that. But
I thought it looked pretty good, actually.
I'm pretty sure it's kind of a lower budgeted film. Clint Eastwood directed it.
It sure seemed like it was lower budgeted, but
yep. Clint Eastwood directed it, and it's rated 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's a heater, man.
But I'll read this little thing I have prepared here because this is a tough movie. But in this particular Western, a drifter with no name, Clint Eastwood, wanders into a small town where his gunslinging abilities are in high demand. When the drifter rides into Lego, he is met with... I didn't write this, by the way. I know I was trying to...
Is this straight off of Wikipedia?
I was going to play it off like I wrote this, but now I can't pronounce this word.
I'm pretty sure I read this exact synopsis.
Okay, he's met with incredulity and disapproval by the townspeople. But once he shows his skills with a pistol, the locals realize he may be able to help them fend off a band of criminals who have been terrorizing the town. He agrees to help the townspeople, but does so with his own secret agenda. I didn't write that. If I would have pronounced incredulity, like no problem, I would have tried to play it off like I wrote this.
Yeah.
But
well, to be honest, I wouldn't have believed it anyways because I've never heard you ever use a word that big.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, so this movie, we can't really say like that's pretty much the best because I was going to try to summarize it myself, but then you're giving stuff away too early in the pod. But basically, Clint Eastwood is a stranger is the best way I can describe it because he never has a name throughout the whole movie.
No, never.
And he rides into this small town of Lago. And like as soon as he rides in, everybody in town is looking at him like
kind of staring at him sideways.
Which I wrote down as like in every Western you watch, anytime a newcomer rides into town, everybody's standing out on the porch like, what the hell's this guy got? You know?
I bet it was somewhat like that.
Probably. And then someone always wants to test him. Because like the first thing he does, he goes into a bar.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and there's 3 guys that you find out are paid to protect the town. And they approach him and start causing trouble.
Yeah, I just wrote down, God damn, Clint Eastwood just comes off as such a believable badass walking into the saloon, is what I wrote down.
And he's, he orders a bottle of whiskey. And then he's smart. You can tell how smart this guy is because he knows these guys are going to test him. So he puts himself in a position that he can defend himself.
Yep.
So he goes over to the barber shop. This is in like the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, this is like, bam.
Yeah. So he walks into the barber shop and everybody's skeptical what's going on. And the barber, he tells him he wants a shave and a bath. And the barber's just so scared because he knows some shit's about to happen. And he's shaking, which by the way, I don't know who the actor is that plays the barber, but he's in quite a few of these Clint Eastwood films.
I also wanted to say he did something before he went into the barber shop that I found. It was just a little detail, but it was like, one of those details if you could blink and miss it. He just like quickly grabs a whiskey bottle and he just basically telling him like, bitch, you're too slow.
Like kind of like Doc Holliday did.
A little bit, yeah.
The one thing that is a little bit of foreshadowing though, before that happens that I failed to mention, was as he's walking in, he's just looking tough, not scared of anything. And someone cracks a bullwhip and you see kind of his head jerk. Like, what was that? And then, anyway, so he goes and he sits in his barber chair. And these 3 jackasses come to keep screwing with him, and he's just smart. He knows it was going to happen. He's prepared, and ends up just killing all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But he has his gun under the apron.
Like, dismantles them so fast.
Yeah. And what was cool, so when he gets up out of the barber's chair, because his holster's sticking out of the apron, he had a little wooden gun butt, so it looked like his gun was still in his holster. So the little details like that, it makes a movie good,
I just wrote down he gave him a chance. I said they were still breathing. They had every opportunity just to leave it as it was, and they made a very fatal mistake. Because I mean, him just demonstrating how fast his hands are with that whiskey bottle should have been a dead giveaway.
Yeah, and they said something too, like how fast you think you are, because people don't tend to, or people don't tend to be that fast around here or whatever. And he goes. Fast enough to stay alive longer than you. Yeah. And then
but just a badass line. Like,
so much happens in the first 5 minutes of this movie that it's just like, what the hell? So he rides into town, kills 3 people. Go ahead.
So my reaction was, I was just like, Jesus Christ! Like, this is all like, because I have never seen this movie.
Right.
So like the first 5 minutes, I'm just like, holy shit! Okay, well, this is the movie. Like it's no like bullshit. It's just straight to the point. We're getting into some shit here.
And he gets out of the barbershop, lights the patented Clint Eastwood roll your own cigar.
He even makes some of the Clint Eastwood faces like...
That's like, he's like, how Jim Carrey can make a bunch of faces?
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood can make one, but it's the most iconic face in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's just like...
That's why he's always going to go down as like one of the greatest Western actors of all time. Like a lot of his other movies are great too. He's got one with Costner. God dang, I wish I could remember the name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then, he's in $1 Million Baby. He wrote $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
Like he's got all these, but it's that look in those Westerns that's like, and that freaking cigar. And I think I told you this when we very first started this podcast, but one thing that makes him so, I think I don't know, maybe a lot of actors were doing it. Certainly a lot of actors do now, that when they get all method and start doing shit. But he insisted on having real cigars, not prop cigars. And he would roll them himself. That's awesome. All throughout a lot of these Westerns, you see him pull that cigar out of his mouth and he starts going...
Spitting out the tobacco.
Spitting tobacco off of his tongue. which is pretty cool. But so again, in the first 5 minutes of the movie, he walks out of the barbershop and he's not looking for trouble, but you can kind of tell he's got this arrogance about him, this presence about him.
Kind of like he's untouchable.
Yeah, like a freaking UFC fighter walks through a bar or something.
Yeah.
Like, come on, try me. And the town floozy, like, kind of musters up. You know, she's up to no good, you could tell. Walks right over, out of her way, and bumps the shit out of him.
Like, so much out of her way that it, like, was obviously, like, she did that shit on purpose.
And then she starts yelling at him, egging him on. And you can tell right then, even before what happens, like, it's like a vindictive, flirtatious move. Like, she's, like, dogging him, but, like, flirting at the same time. And he kind of goes along with it for a little bit, and it's kind of like...
So this part kind of confuses me. Because he ends up, you know...
Well, hang on. Yeah, all right. So, anyway, he tells her, like, he gives her a chance. Like, stop. Like, you need to shut up. And she's like, you need manners. And he's like, I'll teach you some manners. And he drags her into the... What do they used to call where they put the horses? The livery?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and rapes her, basically.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did he rape her?
Well, so I was thinking about this all day. I was like, how do I say this? Because she certainly acted like it was a rape the way she was like, no, don't, and like dragging. And then when he got her laid down in there, there's only two things that could have happened. That's exactly what she wanted to happen, and she succumbed to it, or she just like gave up and was like, whatever. But when he was doing it, she was like wrapping her legs around him, and it looked very kind of a consensual, aggressive situation.
It doesn't really say either. Like what? Like
well, it kind of hints to it a little bit, but I think the main thing to take away from that is because I was like, how do I approach this? Because I can't say like, oh, she was asking for it. Yeah. Like, you can't say that to a rape victim, right?
Like, that scene would be totally different in today's standards.
Right,
like
but the whole thing was, he did it out in front of everybody, basically saying, I can do whatever I want in this place. Yeah, and like, you've already sent your three best at me. You have nobody left.
And he's, honestly, he's not a good person whatsoever.
No, he doesn't try to be.
Like, I guess I don't know. Like, that scene kind of confused me for a while. Like, I just like,
I think it was meant to. And so then, you know, they're done. And he walks out of there, whatever. And then all of a sudden she gets pissed off again. You know, like, how can anybody let this happen? Whatever, you know? And then I think he goes in and gets a hotel room.
Yeah.
Next day.
Well, he goes into the hotel room and you can tell how smart he is because he, like, locks the door, takes a chair, and, like,
yeah, because he knows
leans it up against there. And then it has this weird scene.
His dream?
Yeah, his dream of...
and that's an important part of the movie.
Oh, yeah. And it's what it is this guy, you don't have any context, but he's getting the shit whipped out. Like, literally bull-whipped out of him.
In the street. And all you can kind of see is a badge. You can tell he's a law enforcement
officer.
officer.
But, like, the rest are all shadowy figures. Like, you can see the outlines of who it is, but you don't know who they are. And they're just, like... sitting there watching this dude literally get whipped to death.
Well, and then, you know, and I think in that scene, too, it's kind of quick, but I think he's like looking around, too, and he's like, help me. Somebody help me. This guy's getting whipped. And then he wakes up. And so you're like, okay, so that's got to have something to do.
Yeah, with him.
And then you're like, okay. And so the next day he goes back because he paid for a bath. He wants a damn bath. So he gets in the bath, and there's this little person, Mordecai. It's kind of the town, like everybody picks on him, and I don't know how, what a PC way to say it is, but
okay, he's
everybody's whipping boy, basically.
He's
like errand boy,
the town's joke. Like they all just kind of hang shit on him.
But he's excited. He's the only one in town that's like visibly excited that this gunslinger, this badass, is there. So anyway, he pours him a bath, and Clint lights up one of his cigars and just gets it lit. And Callie, the girl that he raped or didn't rape, I don't know, comes in with a pistol, shoots, and he dives under the water.
Yeah, by the way, the worst aim of all time.
All right. Or is it? Because you saw the ending. She shot 3 times right where he was.
Yes.
And even when he came up out of the water, everybody's like, how's he not have bullets in him?
Yeah, he just comes up, still with a cigar in his mouth, by
Yeah,
the way.
but now it's ruined. I mean,
Yeah, but still a badass.
so, but I have a theory about that later.
Okay, yeah, I also had, I
So-
came to my own
Yeah.
conclusions.
So, but the sheriff approaches him and is like,
He's just this fat,
cowardly piece of crap.
cowardly, yeah.
And he's talking to him and he's like, hey, you killed them boys. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, no charges. I mean, hey,
No problem.
They were bad guys or whatever. So meanwhile, while this is going on, all the other townspeople are kind of meeting up. And you hear them, they're talking about these 3 guys that had gotten arrested. Well, they're getting out of jail today. And word is they're coming back to exact revenge on Lago. And you don't really know why at this point.
Yeah.
And everybody's freaking out. And they're like, well, this guy just rode into town and killed the 3 people we hired to keep us safe. And so, I don't want to give too much away, but it concludes to where they're like, well, let's just see if we can hire this guy then. And it's kind of a mixed room because they're like, no, this guy just he's just right in here. Like,
they have no idea who he is or anything about him.
And so they propose it to him. They're so desperate. They're so scared. They're so helpless because they all are just wussies.
Yeah.
And by the way, too, they don't know for sure. I mean, this is the 1800s. They don't know if these guys are coming or not. That's just what they think is going to happen.
Yeah. I wrote down, though, I'm like, because obviously it gets addressed later in the movie, but I was like, why the hell wouldn't the town, there's like 3 people come in. There's like 30 people in this town. Why can't they just take care of it themselves?
Yeah.
And, well, like you said, they're a bunch of cowards is basically what it is.
Yeah, every one of them. And so the decision's made. And at this point, still, I think, like I knew because I'd seen it. I've seen this movie so many times.
Yeah.
But I can, and the first time I watched it, dude, I was a kid. So I didn't put any of this shit together. You know what I'm saying? So I could see where if you're viewing it for the first time, you're like, well, what's so important about this town? Like, what's the big deal, right? Like, at this point in the movie, I'm saying. So anyway, they end up going to him and he's like, yeah, I'm not interested. Like, I just stopped here for a bottle of whiskey. Like, I don't, I'm not interested. And they say, we'll give you anything you want. And he goes, all right, anything? They said, anything you want. And he goes, okay. And so they start in the general store, and the general store guy's on board with it.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, no credit, everything.
No charges.
And then you see him out of the corner of his eye, see a older Indian man and probably his grandkid, and he's screaming at him like, "Don't touch them blankets, you heathen bastard," or whatever.
Yeah.
And Clint Eastwood, I don't know what else to call him. He doesn't have a name. So the stranger, or the drifter. Well, the drifter. He's a High Plains drifter, I guess.
Yeah.
So he looks at the guy, and then he looks back at the Indians, and he goes, "Okay." And he goes and picks up like 10 of them blankets, hands them to the Indian guy.
Hands like a jar of candy.
Yeah, for the kid. And the store owner looks like appalled, like, no, we said you could have anything, not everybody. And he's like, tell him it's okay. And so it's crazy because this guy's not a good guy, but to the innocent people, like, which we'll find out later, or at least in my opinion, like, especially in this circumstance, he's kind.
I already came up with my own conclusion.
So then he's like, all right, well, I'm done here. Well, now I need some boots.
Yeah.
So they go into the boot store.
Dude, he takes like a grand tour of the town and just starts taking shit.
Well,
like
that's what I said. I put down. I was like, they're so desperate to hire him. They literally offer him anything he wants, and everyone thinks it's funny until he goes to their store and takes from them. And I was like, he is in complete control of this town. Like, he goes into the leather store and he gets boots and he gets this and he gets that. And the guy's like, hey, that'll be, $60 or whatever. And then the sheriff, you can see his shit-eating grin. He's like, no charge. No charge.
Yeah.
And then he goes and gets the most expensive, extravagant saddle he can get. Goes into the bar, orders everybody in town booze and cigars.
The sheriff is even like, hey, no charge. You got to do your part for the town,
Yeah,
too.
he goes, everybody's got to pay up to the kitty.
So they just started, like, pounding booze or whatever.
But that comment kind of, Clint Eastwood looked at him and smiled, and he goes, all right, anything I want. Because the sheriff he doesn't have a business. He's not contributing anything. Yeah. So he takes the badge right off of him, puts it on the little fella, on Mordecai, and he goes, you're the sheriff.
Yep.
And then the mayor kind of laughs, and he goes, yep, grabs the mayor's hat, and puts it on Mordecai, and he goes, and you're the mayor. I don't know. That's just, there's some comedy in it.
A little bit,
and some justice a little bit too. Because these people are mean to Mordecai. So that, again, second example of being kind to somebody that...
Kind of the, Well, like you said, the
underdog a little bit.
Underappreciated, kind of, yeah.
And so after this happens, he basically lets them know because they just thought this guy was going to take care of everything, right? And he goes, nope, everybody needs guns. I need you outside. He's going to teach them how to shoot and how to ambush these potential three cats that are coming in. And here's what I found funny too. Like, so they all get on rooftops. They're all ready to shoot, right? None of them have shotguns. None of them have done anything. The sheriff and like another guy get on a wagon and they put targets in the back of the wagon and ride through the town and everybody shoots at that wagon.
Yeah, isn't that? I was thinking, I'm like, Jesus Christ,
what a
that's
ballsy
kind of crazy.
Move.
Like how? Like at one point, a window gets shot out. I'm like, and they're just sitting on this wagon. Like it's not gonna like I was like, that's a lot of trust you're putting in people that have never shot guns.
Are
apparently.
clearly very bad at it.
They literally can't hit the broadside of a barn, dude.
and they can't hit shit. And he finally he's just sitting there drinking beer, smoking a cigar. And some guy comes up behind him and goes, I don't remember offering up my wagons. And the drifter says something to him. And then he starts pulling a knife out of his sheath. Clint is facing away from him, can't see that. And he goes, something like, if you want to live, I'd put that knife away or whatever. And he like, you can see the spookiness in his face. He's like, how the hell did he know or whatever? And then he pulls out his 6-shooter and shoots the heads off of all them targets and puts it away. And he goes, you still there? And the guy goes, nope, no, I'm leaving.
I got things to do actually.
But he ends up just really terrorizing this town. Like he kicks everybody out of the hotel. He
takes like 2 rooms, I believe, at the hotel and kicks everyone out.
Yeah.
And they're like, so you just want it for yourself? And he's like, that's what I'm asking. And
then he invites the chick that he raped or whatever.
Well, before that, so you see like the 3 or 4 figures of the town get together and they're like, this guy is running amok. He's taking all this shit. We got to do something about him. One of the guys is like, he's going to take care of our problem. And you kind of get like a little bit of a hint of what actually happened.
Well, I think what you get more out of that is the guy that's calling all the shots. You find out there that he owns a mine.
Yeah.
So he's the one with all the money. He's bankrolling all this thing.
Yeah.
So he's calling all the shots because he's like, we need to protect this mine, all that. And then I believe after that, you see the 3 guys get out of jail.
Yep.
And they're like, all right, we're going to Lago.
And they ate their horse, apparently.
Yeah, whatever. So these 3 guys, the bad guys that everybody's afraid that might come, they're coming.
Oh, yeah.
They get out of jail, and, well, now they ain't got no horses or nothing. Run up along 3 poor cowboys on a campsite, kill them, steal their horses.
Yep.
Now, the guy that leads that gang, that actor, can't remember his name either.
I don't know.
He is in a lot of Clint Eastwood movies, too. This is just a sidebar, but in the Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can, where he's got the orangutan, that bad guy plays Clint's brother in that movie.
Oh, okay.
And the guy that was the barber, I believe, is just a side character in the biker gang. Have you seen that movie? Oh, you haven't?
Nope.
Well, we'll watch that not for the podcast. You'll love that movie.
Okay.
But anyway, he's in this biker gang. But anyway, so these guys are coming. And they have this meeting, and the one guy's like, no, they said if they're coming, they'll be here in the next 24 hours. What's the harm in keeping him for 24 more hours?
Yeah.
Well, lots of harm. Come to find out.
Yeah, he does a lot of crazy shit.
Because he goes to these 2 Mexican guys, and he's like, hey, I want to throw a picnic. Can you build these massive picnic tables? And he's like, yeah, if we had the lumber. And he's like, oh, I'll get you the lumber.
Yeah.
And he just literally has them start tearing off this guy's
hotel owner's barn. Yeah.
And he's like, take the lumber,
Yeah.
And so he builds it, and he wants to throw this big picnic. And it's all at this point, you can kind of start putting some stuff together where you're like, he's just mind fucking these people.
He's just doing whatever it comes to his head first.
But you can tell the wheels are spinning he knows what he's doing. He's got a plan. Like, he's there for a purpose.
Yeah.
You just don't really know what it is yet.
Yeah, there's a real mystery factor to it for sure.
But when he gets those rooms to himself, kicks everybody out of the hotel, he gets the town chick that he did or didn't rape.
I wrote that down too. I'm like, wait, so he raped her. Now this motherfucker is asking her for dinner with him, and he plans to sleep with her.
Yeah, and she does.
And she does.
Yeah.
I'm like, so wait, what is happening here?
But she also does it with her own agenda too.
Yeah. Well, come to find out.
Yeah. So she is dating kind of this one guy that wants him gone.
See, I was wondering, are they
I don't know if she's a whore, like, or if she's, like if she's it takes payment for this. I don't really know.
Yeah, I wasn't
They
sure
definitely
either.
act like she's loose, right? Like,
Yeah.
Because even when he's in the bathtub, he's like, and she shoots at him. He pops up to Mordecai and he's like, I don't know why she picked just now to get mad. And he goes, maybe he's mad you didn't come back for more. Or maybe she's mad you didn't come back for more.
I was just like, so anyways, they have a dinner. They eat, and then it pans to a church because that's where he kicked all the people to. And
well, because the pastor comes and he's like,
Yeah.
this is ungodly. You can't do that. These are your brothers and sisters. He goes, these are my brothers and sisters. He goes, are they yours? And he goes, yes. And he goes, well, then they can sleep with you.
yeah,
And then the pastor goes, you can stay with me for no more of a charge than the hotel fee.
hotel,
And he
yeah.
kind of looks at him and he goes, yeah, you're real Christian. You're still charging them to stay with you.
yeah. And so they devise a plan because they're tired of him just like using the town, basically.
A couple of them, or a few of them.
A few of them. And it pans back to their room. The chick's in there. She like kind of slides out. You can tell it's like she had a plan or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Trying to make him vulnerable.
yeah. And of course, it like shows her leaving. And then the guys roll in and they just start like beating the shit out of this bed with
Well,
clubs.
what's funny about that is, like, I believe that he knew all of that was going to happen. Like, he was so ahead of him.
Oh, clearly.
So, like, at the minute she walks out of the door, you don't see it. But this dude gets out of bed, gets completely dressed, gets his poncho on, gets everything, climbs out the window, stuffs the pillows with the bed over, got him with the old sneaking out the window.
Yeah, some Alcatraz stuff.
Well,
here.
like,
speaking of Alcatraz,
Yeah.
yep, he's in that movie.
Yep. I think he directed that one too.
It's pretty good.
But anyway, like you always saw in movies, like when teenagers would, sneak out, they'd stuff the pillows
The
under.
classic.
So they're beating the hell out of these pillows, thinking they got him.
Yeah, this is one of the craziest scenes in the
Meanwhile,
movie.
the camera pans to Clint, and he lights a cigar, and just happens to have
Dynamite.
massive sticks of dynamite. Lights it with the cigar, tosses it in the window, and then, by the way, did you watch him jump off the house?
Yeah.
Like, just completely whoop, hopped right off of it.
Like
That's
it was
got to be a
nothing.
12-foot fall.
Like it was nothing.
Yeah, which is funny. I did put something, not because of that, but like the stunts back then. Like, we have stunts now, but obviously there's a lot more safety in place.
Oh, yeah, there's like...
When these guys are falling off these roofs, you can see the actual thud and the dirt come off.
Yeah.
Or like when they land on their legs and their knees
His
buckle.
stuntman like, those stuntmen back then, like, literally destroyed their bodies.
It's like some Jackie Chan shit.
For real.
But it makes it look like...
Well, it's obviously more believable because, like, you've seen it.
Yeah,
Like,
you literally see this guy fall off a building.
like, yeah.
So he blows the whole hotel up.
Dude, this is one part of the movie I call bullshit. So he throws his TNT in. The entire upper deck of this hotel just completely like evaporates from the explosion. And then somehow the guys are still alive. And he just like casually rolls up and they're coming down like the stairs. I'm like, and he just starts picking them off.
Boom.
Boom, one by one. And the one guy, he hits him in the arm, and that dude just takes off.
But before
running.
he hits him on the arm, he like dives into the first floor of the hotel and grabs the hotel owner's wife, which should add, we've kind of skipped over her a little bit. She's been suspicious, but not mean to this guy, the drifter, since he got into town.
Yeah, and
Like, she can sense something about him.
well, some animosity.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And so Morgan, the guy that he ends up shooting in the arm, like takes her hostage with a knife to her throat, thinking that's going to be my way out. The drifter doesn't even think twice and just boom, caps him right in the arm, just past her body.
Yeah.
Saves her life. And he ends up riding away. So then what does the drifter do? She goes, everybody's rooms are blowed up except for mine. And he goes, guess I'm sleeping there.
Well, he doesn't directly say it. He's like, well, that'll do, or something like that. And she's like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, watch me.
And drags her in there.
He does, yeah. And you think, well, here we go again.
Yeah, but then he lays down, and she's got a pair of scissors in his hands. And he goes, what are you going to do with that? And she goes, defend myself in case you try anything. He goes, don't flatter yourself. Like, he had no intentions of harming her. And then
she was like, she's like, I know what you did to what's her butt.
Oh, yeah. And he goes, yeah, is that what she's saying?
He's like, is that what you think happened? Mm-hmm. He's like, she was wanting it or something like that. And
then this crazy thing happens where she like gets close to him with the scissors. He grabs her. No, because he goes, don't flatter yourself. I'm all tapped out or whatever. He was like, give me like 30 minutes and maybe I can do it or whatever. And so she takes these scissors to him, and all he does, he never, this, at like the first time, little suspect, borderline, you could argue. Either way. That was unjustifiable rape. But this one, he grabs her, doesn't pull her in, doesn't like.
He just literally sits there and holds the scissors.
And then she goes and starts kissing him.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the next morning, she's naked in the bed.
He banged her.
Duh.
But then I was like, because that confused me so much. I'm like, wait, did he rape that chick? Or did he not? Because
no, because she gets up in the bed, props up.
No. I'm saying like the first girl.
One.
I'm like, wait. So what happened?
Yeah.
Like, so I was so confused. I'm like,
well, and then she goes, and I think I wrote his name down. Damn it, maybe I didn't. She goes, anyway. Do you know, or have you ever heard of Marshall whatever, which is a guy that was killed there, whipped to death? And he goes, what would that name mean anything to me? And she's kind of like, she's got a feeling about something. And like, she's like, well, he was murdered here or whatever. And like, you kind of remind me of him and all this stuff. And
she says something like he's an unmarked grave. So
yeah, like, he's in an unmarked grave.
So like his spirit can never rest or something like that.
And he just kind of walks out like, man, I ain't got time for this shit. Because he's got a plan.
Yeah. And
he goes outside and he basically tells the town, in not so many words, basically what he does is tell Mordecai to tell the town, I want this whole town painted red by the time I get back. And, I'm going to go out, whatever.
Well, they're at the gravesite too.
Well, because they're burying the dudes that he killed the night before.
Yeah. And he writes on the sign to Lago, hell.
Yeah, so he instructs him to paint every building red.
Yeah.
And they even say, well, it's going to look like hell, or whatever. And then it pans to the sign where he writes, instead of Lago, it says hell. And then he rides off because, again, the night before, the one guy shot in the arm got away.
He got away, yeah.
And so he goes out. And this is one of the cooler scenes, I think. So this guy that's riding out is just hanging on to life, barely alive.
Yeah.
Ends up running into the three guys that are coming.
Yeah, I literally wrote, what are the odds?
Well, they were heading the same,
Yeah, but I'm like, seriously, though, because
there's probably roads and
it shows this vast plain.
It's a canyon, I think.
Yeah. And I'm just like, but he acts like he did it on purpose, though. So I'm like, wait, did he know those guys, like, where they were staying or something? And anyways,
well, but actually, before that happens, too, I do want to point out this little detail. At this point, after that shit that happened the night before, now the guy that owns the mine, the guy with all the money, is like trying to base this guy's reaction. Like, oh, is he going to not help us anymore? After these shenanigans got pulled. And he said, oh, up your... Because Clint even said, he's like, yeah, I'm not feeling too welcome right now or all this stuff, And he's like, what about $500 a head? Meaning the three guys that come in. He goes, how about $500 an ear?
Yeah.
And he goes, all right. And Clint rides away. And so as these people are meeting up in the canyon... Clint's up there, like, waiting on him, kind of, for an ambush.
I was interpreting as, like, he rode up on it, because there was a scene where he sees that guy's blood.
Yeah, he probably did.
So I think he tracked him there.
Yeah.
But we should say the Morgan guy is like, hey, help me, and all this shit. And they end up just asking, like, because apparently he had a safe or something. They're like, what's the code for it?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not giving you shit, you scoundrels, and all this. And they just kill him.
Yeah, kill him.
They're like, oh, nothing 2 sticks of dynamite can't fix.
Yeah, and then that happens, and a shot gets fired, and off goes a guy's ear.
Literally, and it shows it, and it's grotesque, dude. Like, literally just blows this guy's ear off.
That's hilarious. He said $500 an ear? Yeah, all right, cool. Boom, shoots guy's ear off.
Yeah.
and he's just toying with these guys.
Oh, yeah, the entire time.
He's throwing dynamite. He's just messing with them. And they think this is a big ambush, right? Like, who could this be? And then he's just like, all right, I've had enough fun.
Just rides off.
Rides back into the town of Lago. And when he gets there, it's all red. It's painted red. And for the only time in that movie, you kind of see him smile. Like he's happy to see that scene. And he goes back in, and then he kind of tells everybody, hey, get ready.
Yeah, they're coming.
Like, this shit's going to happen.
And I think he tells one of the guys who's like in a church bell, he's like, when you see dust, start ringing it.
Yep.
Start ringing the bell.
And then, yeah, exactly. So the bell starts ringing. This big, massive picnic set up.
Yep.
And everybody in this town at this point now, this is how arrogant all these townspeople are just like standing outside cocky because Clint Eastwood's character is just going to mop the floor with these guys. We had no problem.
Well, he's been mopping the floor with everybody else.
Right. So they're standing out there like, we ain't got shit to worry about. But he's got, riflemen positioned and everything. And then he just disappears.
Well, it's so funny, though. I literally was laughing because he's like, all right, get ready. And like they all get in position. And you just see him get on the horse. And he just starts like trotting off. And you're like, okay, like maybe he's like going to come in on the horse. And he just keeps trotting off. And then he like literally it pans to like all the people watching him. And he just rides out of town. I was like, oh my God.
And
the three guys show up.
yeah, they do.
And they just completely
Terrorize the town.
destroy everybody. These guys can't hit shit. And they're literally like, okay, this pissed me off. They're 10 feet away. All you have to do is point the gun in the general direction.
Oh, you're talking about the townspeople?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even think anybody fired a shot, though.
No, they didn't.
Because they got so scared. Like, one guy, as soon as the guys rode in town, just threw his rifle and started running.
Yeah.
And then everybody else was, like, pointing their guns. Nobody shot.
And
they never fired a shot.
Well, they end up killing the main, like, financer, basically. Oh, we forgot to mention, the reason why they killed the sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
Was
I don't think that happened.
No, it did. In the hotel scene.
Okay, let's back up, actually.
Yeah, sorry, guys. We forgot a very pivotal point here.
There is a scene where Mordecai, who is also feeling like big shit because he's friends with the drifter who's made him the sheriff and everything, he starts getting picked on by the guys that are like, he's not going to be around here to protect you forever. And he crawls under the porch. And when he does, he has a flashback of the night that the marshal's getting whipped. And he's hiding under the porch that particular night.
Yeah.
And this guy's getting whipped, and they make eye contact. And the sheriff or the marshal sees Mordecai and doesn't say anything to him, but is looking around at all the other townspeople are standing out there watching, saying, help. And he's like, you sons of bitches. And the only other person that tried to stand up and say anything was the hotel owner's wife, who, she ended up sleeping with him, or Clint Eastwood. But so those are the only two people that ever were like kind or tried to do anything. So after that happens, now you learn the real reason that everybody's been messed up, and it's because that marshal found out that the mine was on government land, and it was his legal Jesus Christ obligation to tell. And say, hey, they're doing some shady shit here. They're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So basically, the town was going to lose all of its money.
Yeah. So they hired these three guys to come in and kill him.
Yep.
And they stood by and watched it happen.
And the guys basically took the fall for it too.
Well, they kept their mouth shut because they hadn't been paid.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason they were going back, was to get their money. Because if they talked, they said it earlier in the movie. That's why they haven't said nothing. Because if one hangs, we all hang.
Yep.
And they hadn't been paid. So they're like, all right, we'll just do this jail time, go out and come back and get our money. So anyway, now we're back.
And they kill the main financer of the town. And slowly but surely, all the guys get kind of their comeuppance and what they deserved. And
because Clint's not there.
Yeah, he literally, I'm not shitting you, dips. He's gone.
And so they round all the townspeople up, beat the crap out of them.
Yep.
And then the badass stuff starts happening.
Yeah, but they have them rounded up in a bar and like just torturing. They're going to torture these people for what happened. And yeah, you're right. Then the most
all of a sudden,
epic scene in the fucking movie.
One of the guys is standing by the saloon doors and a bullwhip comes in.
Like over the doors.
Yeah, wraps him around the neck and he pulls him out. And then Clint's standing in the street whipping him. And he's begging for his life. And he's just whipping him, whips him to death.
He like somehow wraps it around his throat and like cut his throat open.
But the one thing I found funny about that scene is the other two bad guys are in the bar listening to him being whipped.
I literally wrote that down. I'm like, so wait, these guys are supposed to be such a badass. and they're just letting this dude, like, hearing him getting his ass beat by a whip, and they just standing there the entire time. Like, what?
Yeah. And then, so after he kills him, I thought this was the most like savage thing that the Drifter had done at this point.
Yeah.
He throws that bullwhip into
the bar.
And once he does that, you can see the look on the townspeople as well as the bad guys. They were like, there's no way. There's no way that's the marshal. Like, we killed him. Like, everybody was like kind of starting to piece some shit together, but they were like, couldn't believe that this was a thing, you know? And so, yeah. And then, oh, by the way, Clint lights the whole town on fire, by the way. Every building.
Oh, yeah. It's all ablaze. It's literally every.
So when he's whipping him, that scene is so cool because there's fire behind him and he's just whipping him. And I like, listen, I'm a stan for Clint Eastwood and his movies, but all it reminded me of was like, not necessarily the movie, but there's a verse in Revelations. I think it's like Revelation 6:8 or whatever. And it's about this guy that rides in on a pale horse, which Clint Eastwood did make a very famous movie, The Pale Horse Rider.
Yeah.
But that whole verse in the Bible is like, I don't remember it verbatim, but it's like rode in and I saw this pale horse and on top of it sat a man with a bow and he was death. And like when I saw that scene just today, and like I said, I've seen this movie forever, that popped in my mind and I was like, oh my God, this guy's a grim freaking reaper, dude. And then like and then these guys come outside eventually. And
yeah. And they go outside and he does something so fucking cool. He literally takes dynamite and just starts chucking like 15 dynamites out and like scatters the entire town.
Yeah, the townspeople are gone.
Yeah.
And then they're duds. They're not even real
they're
dynamite.
all duds.
And he could have easily just sat back and picked these guys off, right?
Yeah, he chose the most.
He wanted them to suffer.
I wrote down it was literally psychological warfare that he was doing.
And he's messing with them. They're shooting into the dark and all this stuff. Next guy he kills is like he's on like some balcony or some stairs.
It's literally like a Batman scene.
Bull whips him, hangs him.
Yeah.
And then it's left to the leader of the gang. And, you know, he's messing with them and again, just screwing with him and then just pumps like 10 bullets into him. And he goes, "Who are you?"
No, dude, the best shot of the entire movie is he like casually walks out in front of the flames, turns to him, and like all you see at some point he looks translucent.
Yeah.
Like the flames are like in him. And the guy's like staring at him, and then he just kind of moves his gun to show his gun, and the guy like tries to point the gun, and as soon as he does it, he's just boom, 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 and fills him full of holes.
Yeah, and his last words are, "Who are you?" And he doesn't even talk.
He doesn't talk.
Just looks at him.
Just lets it happen.
And then it dies. And then it like, you know, kind of pans to morning time. And the whole town's destroyed.
Wreck.
And Clint gets on his horse, starts walking or, you know,
trotting out.
Stops at the innkeeper's wife. And she says she's leaving or whatever. And he kind of gives her a tip of the hat.
Yeah, he doesn't even really say anything.
Dude, you'll find in a lot of these Westerns with Clint Eastwood, this is probably one of the movies where he has the most lines.
And it wasn't even that many, though.
No, but he doesn't talk this much mostly in a lot of these movies. But, well, in a lot of them, not this one, but, you know, the spaghetti Westerns were filmed over there in Italy.
Yeah.
So
it was meant for, like, a European crowd, basically.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. But they were highly successful. They saved the genre of the Western. But now this is, okay, I'll talk about this last scene, and then we can start talking about
I have my theories.
Okay. So as he is riding out, he rides up to Mordecai, who is now painting
carving
on the unmarked grave the marshal's name.
Yep.
And Mordecai goes, "Hey, I never got your name." And he goes, "You know my name."
Yeah.
And then he rides away into the plains, and you see his character just kind of disappear.
He like literally dissipates into vapor.
So this is a movie that Clint Eastwood has never said what the ending is. I think it's fairly clear. I
would love to hear. Okay, well, we can just do that.
So here's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that he is like the ghost of the marshal, right?
Okay.
Which is why when he was in the bathtub...
Makes a lot of sense.
Which is why when he was in the bathtub and she shot him 3 times. There's no way ever. I don't care what movie, if it's.
By the way, when we say she shot him, she was literally like 2 feet away.
And he's in a tub, like not even like an actual, like one of the old timey bathtubs. And he just goes underwater. And he comes up and nobody can believe he ain't got no bullet holes in him, right? Mm-hmm. I believe he's a ghost. Then again, he's facing away from people and can see what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's a spirit. He's not a real person. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why he was able to be so many steps ahead of people and all this stuff. And then when he rides out, and that's why, again, he was mean to everybody in that town and took advantage of everybody. The only person he paid for anything in that town was the barber, because the barber's so cowardice that I don't think he had anything to do with any of that. That's why he never harmed him in any way. He paid for that bath. He paid for everything, right? And Mordecai, he never harmed Mordecai. Actually, elevated him. Mm-hmm. And the innkeeper's wife, because when he was being whipped, she tried to say something. Yep. Everybody else, he held guilty, and he was going there for justice. Mm-hmm. And it just happens that he showed up right as these guys were getting out. No, that's why I think that his character was a ghost that showed up there for a purpose, for a reason, for a time. And that's my theory. And that's a lot of people's theories too. But like Clint Eastwood has only said, yeah, it's up to the viewer.
Yeah, which there's a lot of, how do I say this? I want to say it, but I know the word, but I'm just going to butcher it. Like ambiguity, where it's like very like, you don't know. Obviously there's some mystery there.
Yeah.
Ambiguous. Sorry.
Ambiguous. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Great word.
It's very ambiguous. Like it leaves a lot for the viewer to interpret. So it kind of creates in a way your own story in your head of what the background of this character is, because they don't give his name. It's very like mysterious.
And he doesn't look like the marshal either.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, kind of.
So
you know what
my theory is, in that scene you see the marshal like die. Mm-hmm. He says something about like I curse you all and all this, and I think he's the spirit of vengeance, basically. Like,
okay. Yeah, that's
like
great.
Ghost Rider.
Well, also though, when he's in the dark, I forgot to add this with the. And this also goes along with your theory, but when he got the last guy, when the last guy and he can't see where he's at, he's like, "Help me!" Yeah, and it's the marshal's voice, and he's going, "Help me!"
Yeah,
and
so that's my theory. I think he was the spirit of vengeance.
That's possible. That's a great theory. I'm looking at it a more simple.
Yeah. So for me, it was the reason why I thought that is there was a lot of cues for me. Like he paints the town red. The spirit of vengeance would want to send people to hell. Mm-hmm. So that's like, for me, that's what he represents as the spirit of vengeance.
Yeah, you might be right, actually. I might have been, I mean, we're looking at it the same way. We just got different people in mind. But you might be 100% right. They're also, and another reason too is because after he killed those guys, remember, like, this is just kind of a subtle line in the movie when they were burying him. Mm-hmm. Like the guys that he shot from the hotel thing. Yeah. They're like, well, should we mark his grave? And they're like, I don't think anybody's going to give a damn. And, that's essentially what they did to the marshal. Yeah, Spirit of Vengeance, that's a good one. I was kind of looking at it. The biggest selling point for me was the bullwhips. Yeah. And then him disappearing into...
Yeah. So I pieced it together, though. That's just my theory. What I pieced together is... Because for some reason, he dreams about it.
Yeah,
and
vividly. And the only other person that has dreams about it is Mordecai for some reason. So he's tied into this.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, obviously, like if the guy cursed the town and cursed those who did him injustice, I was like, well, that would make sense.
He doesn't only just dream about it, like it haunts him. Like he wakes up and sweat
so
about it.
I was like, that makes sense that the spirit of vengeance would be cruel to those who deserved it. And the townspeople that watched and did nothing, they deserved it.
Yeah, and he didn't kill them, but he
tortured, mentally tortured them.
Well, not even just mentally, just financially, everything, and then burned all their shit down.
Yeah. So for me, that's who it was, and it further cemented my idea of who he was as the spirit of vengeance. When I said, like, he's in front of the flames and he's translucent, and like, so obviously he's
some sort of spirit. There
is a supernatural element to this, though. very much so.
Well, and that's why it's really one of my favorite, like, out of his westerns. Listen, I mean, he's got so many, and I love them all.
Yeah.
You know, but this one to me, I thought it'd be a good one for us to watch for this exact conversation that we're having now, because like Outlaw Josie Wales is so cut and dry. Like, he's out for vengeance, right?
Yeah.
The Pale Horse Rider, you pretty much know. Like, there's not a lot of mind fucking that's going on. Like, you know, and like a lot of his movies are just very this and this and this and this, and they're all great. But this one makes you think, and the whole movie you're thinking, and you're.
I will say this is one of the more unique westerns I've watched
for sure.
Because, like you said, it's not cut and dry. Like Clint chose to leave a lot to the viewer's imagination, basically.
And then, like I said, I don't, as far as I know, and I know quite a bit about this.
I did read one thing. He said it was the sheriff's brother, but
he's probably just fucking with people.
He's also like 80 years old at this point.
I think he's probably just messing with people.
Probably so. I was like, really? Come on.
He's not 80. He's 90 something.
Well, like when he did this interview, it was like 2010 or something. Yeah. He's like, yeah, it was the sheriff's brother that showed up. I'm like, dude, he disappeared into a vapor.
Well, so I'll tell you the reason I picked this one for us, like I said, was because of I knew we were going to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And having to put it together. I figured you hadn't seen it because, like I said, it's not one of his wildly popular. Now, it's got a massive rating, but as far as I know, it's not one of his like if you go up to some geek off the street and you say, hey,
High Plains Drifter,
what's Clint Eastwood's westerns? They would actually, the ones that is probably always going to get thrown out is Good and the Bad and the Ugly.
Oh, for sure.
And then, well, that's actually a trilogy too, because then you got Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More.
Yeah.
But this one, and Pale Horse Rider is a massive one, and Outlaw Josie Wales. The list goes on and on. But this one means a lot to me because this is the first Clint Eastwood movie I ever saw.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. My Uncle Steve was a big Western nut. So, like, you know, we were watching Lonesome Dove, John Wayne, a bunch of old shit I don't even remember, like black and white stuff. And we watched this movie, and I liked it so much. And I'm probably, I don't know, 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
So was not able to put all this together. I just thought it was such a badass movie.
Yeah, he's
like,
he really is such a badass.
So then my uncle goes, well, if you like this, you'll like Outlaw Josie Wales. So we spent like 3 days just watching nothing but Clint Eastwood westerns. And then he's like, oh, you like these westerns? How about Dirty Harry? You know, or how about like all these movies? And then so years after that,
we're gonna have to get to that movie at some point. Dirty Harry.
Well, there's multiple. There's Dirty Harry. There's Magnum Force.
I know, but like Dirty Harry also is like
the original Dirty Harry, like the first one.
So iconic.
Yeah. So yeah, 44 mag. You feeling lucky, punk?
I don't know. And the excitement of it all, I just kind of like yeah.
Well, and then in the second one, he's in a diner, and the diner's getting robbed, and Clint stands up, and the guy goes, "Well, who's gonna stop me?" And he goes, "Me and my friends." And he goes, "Who are your friends?" And he goes, "Smith and Weston." But anyway, this movie is what started my Clint Eastwood obsession, and I'll never forget. You remember those commercials where they were like, you know, hey, for 3 payments and $19.99.
Yeah.
So they had come out with one, and this was, I don't know, probably 2010 or 11 or whatever, and it was get the Clint Eastwood Power Pack, and it was up to that point every movie he had made. Directed.
God, that had to be like a 2-box set, dude.
Dude, I wish I would have brought it. I still have it. It's like one of my prized possessions. But it's like that big. It's like a book. You open it like a book, and in the book, it's got like 6 DVDs in every book.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. He made so many movies.
And then in the back of that, there's like a small little book that he wrote, not like an autobiography, but just kind of about movies and stuff like that. And then there's some pictures, and then
like a brief like statement of how he.
And then he included like an autograph headshot from I don't remember what movie. I have to open it up. Like I have it all. It's in pristine.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with it. But I remember saying, I think my birthday was coming up, and I remember my uncle's house had burnt down, or he had just moved to Eureka. I don't remember, but I was making everybody known. Everybody's like, "What do you want for birthday?" I said, "The only thing I want is a Clint Eastwood Power Pack," because I hadn't seen all his movies at this point, and I was so hooked, man. And now for Christmas, I'd get sometimes like my sister would get me like, you know, in those Walmart bargain bins, there'd be like a 4-disc collection, and it might be whatever. And I did have those, but I wanted all of them together, right? And I got it from my Uncle Steve. He bought it for me in the last movie, and that was Gran Torino. And that's when he had said, I'm done after Gran Torino. And that's why he came out with that, because he's like, here, if you want my work, here it all is in one place.
But yeah.
But I think he thought he was, But yeah, then he ended up making a few more. But
we almost did Gran Torino like 2 weeks ago.
yeah, and then I switched it to The Revenant because
because of Leo.
Well, yeah, in that documentary I watched, I was in my brain, but I was so excited. Like, okay, you're probably the only person that will understand this, but be 15 years old, okay, and the only thing you want for your birthday is like 60 DVDs of Clint Eastwood. Okay, and listen, to me, because I'm biased, they're all winners. Okay. But there are some movies in there that are just not as good as others.
Yeah,
like Bronco Billy. He did this movie.
You can't hit home
Bronco
runs
Billy.
every time.
Yeah, he did this movie Bronco Billy that I like, but I think a lot of critics shit on. Where he's very much like a modern era, like Wild Bill character.
Did he ever have like kind of a down period?
Oh, I'm sure, dude. I don't know because he made so many. Because, like I said, I don't remember when I talked about this, but he signed a lifetime contract with Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
and he did Rawhide too, dude. TV show.
Yeah,
it was so good. But I think he was very strategic, probably especially directing when he started. And he'll go down as one of the better directors of
for an actor turned director. Also, like it's very rare that happens.
Like him and Mel Gibson.
Yeah, and it's very rare that they make Oscar-worthy movies. Like, he won big with what was that one you mentioned earlier? With the boxing movie.
Oh, $1 Million Baby?
Yeah, $1 Million Baby.
Well, he did a couple more movies with Morgan Freeman. He did that
Gran
one.
Torino, obviously, too. But
well, yeah, but he did $1 Million Baby with
Hilary Swank.
Yes, but also Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman won an Oscar from that movie.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman, there's YouTube clips where he praises Clint Eastwood. And he goes, dude, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have some of the awards I have. Of course, that was later in Morgan's career. Well, we say later. He's still going. But like when that movie came out, was Morgan in Escape? No, he wasn't in Escape from Alcatraz.
No.
God, what was that other movie in? He directed, what was that, Matt Damon, where he's a rugby player?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't.
Starts with an I.
Yeah, I can't think of the title now.
That won an Oscar. Like he won more Oscars as a director than he ever did an actor.
And he's an amazing director.
Yeah, but like know,
for me, okay. So obviously, I'm not.
He won an Oscar for American Sniper.
I'm not as big as a nut as you are for.
I'm a total stan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, Escape from Alcatraz is one of my favorite movies of Clint Eastwood.
You ever watch Letters to Iwo Jima?
Huh.
He directed that. I don't think he's in it.
But
that's like one of those. So when we talk about, that, we've talked about that scratch off poster, like the 100 movies everybody should watch.
Yeah.
That one's on there.
Okay.
It's considered one of the better movies of all time.
For me though, Escape from Alcatraz is one of my favorite Clint Eastwood movies, just because it really happened.
Yeah.
Like in the mystery of what happened afterwards. And the movie never tells you what happened afterwards. But like you get to see the process these guys went through to escape from what was considered at the time an unescapable prison. Yeah. And so like I just really enjoyed that movie. Also one of the few Clint Eastwood movies my grandfather let me watch with him. And between that and obviously The Good and Bad and Ugly.
Yeah. Well, that one's iconic.
Yeah. So like, but that was, I remember as a kid watching.
Well, like whether you like the guy, like he got, I don't know, over the past decade, maybe even longer, he got a lot of hate over his politics and this and that. Okay. Take all that away from this guy and just look at his body of work.
You can't take away from the artisan that he is.
No, dude. And also, I don't think his politics are that bad. He's not radical, but whatever. But this guy has made so many movies. And there's the great debate, right? Like him and John Wayne. Like, who's the best Western actor of all time? Well, a lot of people say John Wayne. A lot of people say Clint Eastwood. Well, Clint Eastwood, they were in different eras, too, that should be noted. Obviously, John was a lot older. And John pioneered. And John Wayne, he made war movies and all this stuff, too. John Wayne did not like Clint Eastwood. And I don't know. I've done some research on it. Seems to me, of course, like I said, I'm very biased.
Was it out of like jealousy?
Very egotistical. Yeah. John Wayne was like, oh, this kid, because Clint approached him multiple times and was like, dude, let's do a Western. together before, because John was getting old. And he's like, let's do a Western. And he was like, no, you're never going to be John Wayne. You're never going to be. Well, come to find out, Clint's made double the movies, won multiple awards. Of course, just different eras. But for this particular movie, being shot in the 70s, just the way. And I don't know at this point, I don't know how many movies he had directed either.
I think I read, because I did a little bit of background research last night. After I watched it, it was his sophomore, so second movie.
So that's pretty good. But me and Uncle Steve we would watch this movie so much that we would sit around and like start to point out mistakes, like in the editing and the cuts. Like there's one scene, where he's like having him do a target practice.
Yeah.
So he's got that mug of beer and he drinks it and it's like halfway done, right? And he sets it down. Next time the camera pans to him, it's full. And it's like, okay, that's a funny little hiccup.
Yeah.
And then when he shoots guys in the barbershop, I noticed this today. When the guy fell down, you could clearly see an elbow pad poking through his...
I mean, you can't catch everything.
No, man. But shit, you could do that with most movies. Maybe not so much today, but...
I mean, like the movie Troy famously had like a jet airplane in the background of one of the scenes.
Yeah, but anyway, so what do you give it out of a 6-pack?
For me, I'm going to give this probably a solid 4.5.
4.5. I like that rating.
Because there was some things like I like the mystery aspect, but like
could have been explained a little
bit clearer.
Yeah, I like the 4.5 rating. I probably do. I'm going to try to take my bias out of it and my love for this human.
Yeah.
I'll do 4 3/4.
Okay.
Which for a movie in the early 70s. Okay, here's a better question. Out of the Westerns that you've seen, out of a 6-pack, where do you put that? Just in that genre only, not just movies in general, just out of that genre.
Out of that genre, it's probably a 5.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Like, I still have a little bit of issues with it.
There's a reason it's gotten a 94% rating.
I mean, yeah, it's a very well done movie. There really isn't that many mistakes, but the mystery aspect, some of it, I'm like, come on, like we could have answered a little more.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's the movie, guys. High Plains Drifter, and it's on Netflix.
It is. That's where I watch it.
Yeah, and I know we pretty much told you everything that happens, but there's so much more.
We missed a lot of we skipped over a lot of details too.
So watch it and form your own opinion. What do you think towards the end? Is he the spirit of revenge? Is he the ghost of the marshal? Is it all just coincidence? I mean, what is it?
Yeah, literally, it's up for interpretation.
Yeah, form your own opinion on it, but cool. Well, I'm glad I brought a good one to the table.
Hey, man, it was a banger.
Well, and I know how much you like The Revenant. You just didn't have time to rewatch it. So.
Yeah, I had a busy shit going on.
Well, throughout the lifetime of this podcast, I will not be able to help myself. We will do a couple more Clint Eastwood movies at some point.
Oh, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. Who do you think... Okay, I know your favorite actor is probably Leo, right?
If I'm being honest with myself, I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan, man.
Okay. What about like as far as the old guys go, like 60s, 70s guys?
Jack Nicholson. He made Trouble in Little Chinatown. He made some really good movies back then.
Yeah. Well, all right. Now we're gonna talk about other bullshit. This was needed to be brought up. You've heard about it all week, because especially after this comes out. But Toby Keith passed away from battle with stomach cancer. And I got to be honest, this one hit a little different for me. I mean, I didn't bawl my eyes out or anything, but it hit a little different for me because, I've just grown up around country music my whole life. I feel like this is maybe not the first guy, but one of the, as far as superstars go, one of the first guys to die that was like literally my entire life, like my whole childhood.
Yeah.
Because like it should have been a cowboy, came out in the 90s. We were born in the 90s. And then, up until now, and he's had so many hits and stuff that it's like he's just been there my whole life.
Yep.
I never saw him in concert. Oh, that's not true. Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I saw him one time. And he got a lot of flack from it because he was drunk. And everybody's pissed off, and they're like, "Drunk Toby, I paid all this money." I was like, "This is a guy I wanted to see, dude."
Yeah.
But Toby passed away, and a lot of really good tributes and like I said, I feel like I know all this guy's songs, but they don't get played on the radio every day, or you don't think about listening to them. And then, I was scrolling through some of his catalog this week, and I was like, holy shit, this guy.
I couldn't help myself, obviously, after he passed. I was like, well, let's take a trip down memory lane.
I think everybody did that, and that's why he shot to
number one
on everything. But I did want to read. So this is just not even that. I mean, it's a crazy thing to read, but it's not even nearly what he did in his career. But he released 19 studio albums.
God, that's a shit ton. Dude.
2 Christmas albums and 5 compilation albums, totaling worldwide sales over 40 million albums sold, not streamed, sold. He charted 61 singles on Billboard, including 20 number 1 hits and 22 additional top 10 hits. That's
insane.
That is incredible. His longest lasting number 1 hits are Beer for My Horses in 2003 with Willie Nelson and As Good As I Once Was in 2005 at 6 weeks each. And he also was nominated for 8 Grammys, won 2. Multiple CMAs, AMAs, stuff like that.
He truly was a country music legend.
I think what I love about Toby Keith so much, like getting later into life, because you'll notice that, I don't know, maybe the last like 10 years, like you on the radio anyway, I should say, you'd only hear like a song every now and then that would like a new one that would come out.
Yeah.
But this dude was a songwriter first and an artist second. And I've been watching some YouTube clips and some past interviews and all this stuff. And meanwhile, his first hit in the 90s wasn't until he's like in his 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like...
So he grinded.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. He came off an oil rig. And he said, I might not be the best singer. I might not be the best writer. But nobody is going to outwork me.
Hey, man.
And he did, dude. He worked pretty hard. And it sucks. I mean, it happened, death is inevitable. But
to be honest, I had a feeling it was going to happen because...
How sick he got?
Well, just seeing him lately, you could tell like he was not doing well.
Yeah, what's crazy is he did an interview with CBS like 2 weeks ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I feel great, everything." But that's cancer, man, that ugly beast. And who knows how much of that he was keeping to himself too. You know? But he did he got honored at the Billboard Award, the Billboard Country Awards this year. Got the Icon Award.
Yep.
And he sang "Don't Let the Old Man In."
Yeah.
And it's such an emotional performance just because of how frail he is. Like, I've heard that song, and it's a great song.
Yep.
But just seeing him up there. But what's crazy is, as tiny as he got, because Toby was a big guy.
He was a big dude.
And seeing him that small just, like, makes your heart hurt. But he sounded the same.
Yeah, he still had the voice.
That voice just stayed in him.
Well, and to me, watching that, it sounded like his soul, like he was singing... Like, I think he knew, obviously, he was on death's door.
Well, who knows more than he would?
Yeah. So, like, I think that was kind of his way of being on big television, saying, his goodbye.
Yeah, his last little
hoorah
victory lap, And, Toby, you remember Toby. There's a lot of different phases of Toby that people remember about Toby. Mm-hmm. There's the should have been a cowboy phase with the mullet, and there's this, right? And then there's the post 9/11 Toby with, I'll put a boot in your ass, an American soldier, and all this stuff. And then there's the kind of cynical side of Toby with, Made in America, where he's just talking about how, like, global warming and all this stuff. And then there's the cynical, like, songwriter first Toby, where he was on this documentary about Dean Dillon. He goes, "Oh, songwriting's dead." He goes, no, because he wrote A Few More Cowboys, which is a great song, which is basically talking about, like, we need a few more cowboys in this world, like people that respect women and people that do this. And like, he is very, very strong in his code of ethics and his morals.
Oh,
whether you agree with his morals or his code or whatever.
I was going to say, politics aside, there has to be something said about a man who stands on his values.
Yeah, never
wavers.
No. And also, I saw some videos today of like Stephen Colbert and like some of these Democrats, because like when you look at Toby and you hear his songs, you're like, okay, here's a diehard right wing guy.
He's old and he never.
But hey, he went to Obama's inauguration. I saw a clip of him there, you know, clapping because he knows he witnessed history. And and even Stephen Colbert, he's like, what was his analogy? He goes, ever see those videos of like the duck and the horse that are friends? And he goes, that was me and Toby, because I guess they were really good friends.
Yeah.
And he goes, he was the horse, I was a duck. And everybody thought it was weird that we were friends because Colbert's obviously very famously politically this way and Toby's that way, but it didn't matter. Which is something to be said about how we all should try to be, especially right now.
For me, I think Toby just, you know, believed in
people.
People, and it's America. You are allowed to have different views on things and freedom of speech, and that's just kind of what he preached, man.
And he lived it, man.
He did. He lived it.
And so I texted you earlier about, because last week we talked about how I come up with these questions and you're never prepared, and I feel bad because. So I asked you to pick a Toby Keith song that I can't see it on these damn things. That like, what's one that comes to your mind? And you answered,
A Little Too Late, A Little Too Gone.
Okay, that's not the one I loaded up for you though.
No, that's okay. But Beer for My Horses too.
Yeah, but the first one you texted me,
I don't even remember.
I'll play it. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
My guitar too loud. How do you like me now?
Yeah.
How do you like me now?
Now that I'm on my way, you still think I'm crazy. Standing here today, I couldn't make you love me, but I always dreamed about
Yeah, man.
living in your radio.
How do you like me now?
That's a bang. But that's another thing that's what's great, makes this guy so versatile. So you just said 3 songs that are completely different from each other.
Yeah.
So Little Too Late, It's a Little Too Late.
I love that song.
I'm
dude.
a little too gone.
Yeah.
Little too tired of this hanging on. I'm big time over you, baby. It's a little too late. I was gonna pick that one.
I love that song. Dude, it's
You remember the music video to that?
Yeah, it's him like
Here's another thing that Toby doesn't get enough credit for. His music videos, bar
Awesome.
none, the best music videos. They were funny. They're in it, but in that particular music video,
Yeah, he's like trying to like basically lay bricks
in the basement.
to like seal his soon to be ex-wife in, and I think he ends up like accidentally like sealing himself in.
Yeah, he does. So it's funny because he's laying bricks and he's got her hands tied and she's just sitting there shaking her head. And he's like, yeah, baby, you drove me too far, baby. And then he gets a final brick in. He goes, sorry, baby, it had to be done. And then he turns around and notices that he bricked himself in. And then he goes, baby, you know my temper. You know my temper. I didn't mean it, And this song is kind of deep in the catalog, but this is one of my favorite songs of his.
You shouldn't kiss me like this.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mean it like that. 'Cause I'll just close my eyes and I won't know where I'm at. We'll get lost on this dance floor, spinning around and around and around and around.
I could write a song, man.
They're all watching us now. They think we're falling in love. They never believe we're just friends. When you kiss me like this, I think you mean it like that. If you do, baby, kiss me again.
Dude, he just wrote amazing songs, man.
That music video, though, is still kind of funny.
I don't know if I ever seen
Okay,
it.
so if I remember correctly, it's been a long time. I used to wake up in the morning and put CMT countdown, on before I was waiting
The
for the
top
bus.
20.
But that song, that music video starts out and it's like a hot MILF, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And there's like a boy and she's like, oh, you're going off to college tomorrow. And he's like setting some stuff up for her. And he's like, yeah, thanks for like throwing some work my way this summer and all that, And then throughout the music video, it's like this forbidden love, like this older woman that wants it. And in the music video, it's like confusing the boy because she'll do this stuff with him, but then when they're in front of
Yeah.
people or whatever, it's like, oh, we're just friends, or whatever. And,
Yeah.
and then the other song that I picked is one of my favorites. It's so hard to narrow. I mean, we could do a whole episode just playing his songs and reacting to them.
Yeah, man.
But I tried to pick the soft 90s or early 2000s slow song, the love song. But it's also heartbreak, that song. Because it's like this guy's confused. It's like, yeah, you're telling me one thing, but
Yep.
you're telling everybody else. But I love this one right here, dude.
Riding when the bartender says for the lady, what's it gonna be? I tell him, man, she ain't in the wine and roses.
This is an amazing song.
Beer just makes her turn up her nose, and she ain't in a thought of sipping champagne. No Cuervo, no margarita. Just ain't enough good burning tequila. She needs something with a little more rage and a little more pain. She's my little whiskey girl. She's my little whiskey girl. My ragged on the edges girl. And I like 'em rough. Yeah. Dude, we could do like God Love or Bullets in the Gun,
You know what I
Beer
wrote?
from My Horses. I'll never smoke weed with Willie again.
I want to talk about me.
I want to talk about number one. Oh, my. What I think, what I like, what I know, what I want, what I see.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
I want to talk about you usually.
Yeah, dude.
But occasionally,
I
want
wanna
to talk
talk
about me. Me. Want to talk about me. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Or,
I just love his songs. I remember
yeah.
one of my memories of Toby was when I worked at Pizza Hut, our buddy Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was closing time or whatever.
Yeah, you always put the song in the jukebox, baby.
Oh, yeah. We'd always put on, How Do You Like Me Now? Or
Now that
what was that other song they had? Drinks After Work. Yeah.
Oh, how about We Got Winners?
Yeah, we
got
Me and Sash,
losers.
because this was back before
Chain smokers. And
the store got tore down, so
Yeah.
we still had that jukebox. And me and him would put like 50 cents in a piece, and we'd like hit Toby Keith songs.
What was the one where he was something about a trailer park, tornado trailer? There's a tornado.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Damn. Trailer Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Or,
Yeah, man. Like, I'm going to tell you, man.
oh, you got the money.
Yeah.
Or I got the money. You got the honey. Let's make a deal. Let's make a plan. Who's your daddy? Who's your baby? Who's your buddy? Who's your man?
Yeah, dude. I got to be honest with you, man.
He's got a deep
You know,
catalog.
I know we lost Charlie Daniels, we lost Kenny Rogers, we lost a lot of
Joe
great,
Diffie.
a lot of great country singers. But this one hit me a little different, man.
But I'm telling you, I think it's because this is probably the one of the few
the ones
guys
that we kind of grew up around.
just every album he put out, like I just was there for all of it. kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, it should have been Cowboys. Probably one of the greatest songs of all time.
Yeah, it's
Everybody knows that, whether you like country music or not.
you could go to a karaoke bar and sing that, and everyone's
Everybody
gonna
knows
sing
it.
to it.
Yeah, and like, Red Solo Cup was super popular. I thought it was one of his weaker, like as a songwriter.
It's not one of his greatest songs.
But everybody loved it because everybody could, like, whether they were, it wasn't just a country thing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you got to respect the guy for what he did for the military and everything.
oh yeah,
So
he did a lot.
R.I.P. Toby
Yeah,
Keith.
rest
You know what?
in-
Hey, in
you know
honor of
what?
that,
Cheers to Toby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers to Toby, man.
Okay. So the other question I had for you, hey, in honor of TK, our intro song, well, you already hear it, I guess, by the time this episode
Yeah,
comes out, but
yeah.
I'll say it to you. Instead of our usual drinking buddies,
Yeah.
I think I'll do a little beers ago, Toby Keith.
Hey, yeah,
That was
man.
1,642 beers ago.
I'm with it, dude. I'm
Yeah.
with it.
All right. So the other question that I texted you earlier was, I don't know why this thought crossed my head today, but I was wondering what's something you've always wanted to do is kind of dumb that you could easily do that you've never done?
Okay. This one isn't kind of dumb. It's pretty dumb.
Okay, well, whatever. It could be stupid.
But I've always wanted, I know this is a cliche answer, but I've always wanted to do this. It's skydiving. I want to go skydiving.
Oh, yeah,
at
that's
least
real dumb.
just once. But I did write down.
I can't do that.
I did write down to myself, one, the reason I haven't done it, I'm too big of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you're no Tom Cruise, Chase.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, obviously, I'm not. I don't have that gear in me.
Dude, I've never had any desire to do that.
I want
one
to do it
shred of me.
just once, just to like rip it off the bucket list. But the reason I have never done it, I have a very stupid fear that it's not the height part that doesn't get me. It's not the parachute maybe or may not deploy.
Yeah, all the logical fears.
Yeah, it's what if I get out and I'm on the plane, the door opens, and the guy's like, "Hey, you ready?" Because obviously I can't go solo yet.
Yeah. Well,
And
yeah.
and I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." We get to the door. I look down,
Okay.
and obviously like we're 15,000 feet up or whatever, 10,000 feet.
Listen,
however
I'm no
high we are.
aviator. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
That's how dumb I am. and
Well, nobody knows that unless they're doing it.
and so I'm staring down at Earth,
Okay.
and I'm like,
At Mother Earth.
what if I get there and I go, "Oh man, wait a minute," and he's just like, "No, we're going," and just throws me out. I piss my pants right then and there,
That's actually a logical fear.
and like so the whole way down,
You're
I
just in your
can't
piss
I
pants.
can't even enjoy it. Like after the initial shock of jumping out of the plane,
Yeah.
I can't even enjoy the free fall.
No.
Like because like my pants are just full of piss,
Bro, not even your pants. Gravity.
And
Guy
with
behind
him,
you's pants
he's
is
getting it too.
Yeah.
Because like that's sneaking up to him.
It's not snaking.
Oh, it's coming up to him.
Yeah. I bet by the time you get to the ground, everybody's pants is dry. You know.
But there's a smell there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a fear I have.
I feel like it could definitely happen because I've been on some roller coasters at times where like I'll piss beforehand and I'm even like,
You get a little
is there-
tinkle
is there
sensation
something?
before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet that feels like the ultimate roller coaster,
It has to.
at least for the first while of it.
But if I could, I'd put AirPods in that with Tom Petty. I'm free.
Oh, yeah.
Free falling.
Yeah,
If I could.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a logical fear to have. I don't say that it would be my top fear. My top fear would be
That's just how my brain works.
Yeah, yeah.
Is I think, okay, logically, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of hazard to it. But
a lot of hazard.
Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but my main fear would be
Pissing your pants.
pissing my pants a
What
little
about
bit.
throwing up? You wouldn't worry about that?
I don't think throwing up would be an issue.
Do you think that would be worse than pissing your pants, though?
No, because they put those suits on you,
Yeah.
so that's contained.
Yeah.
Like the piss would be contained.
But what if you threw up? And
But
hit-
if you threw up, like that's just a quick thing. He could just,
Maybe he gets blinded by it. Maybe some of it gets under the goggle. Maybe you're fucking dead.
if it gets under the goggle.
I'm just saying, if you do it in the future, you need to consider all aspects. Don't eat the whole day.
Oh, I wouldn't. No way.
Yeah.
I would literally limit my intake of water.
Go into it like you're going into surgery. Like when you go into surgery, they tell you don't eat or drink anything after
That's
midnight.
how you'd have to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
And I've always wanted to do it, and it's actually
Yeah,
fairly,
it's pretty doable.
It's fairly easy.
I don't
to
even think
do.
it's that expensive.
No, it's like I want to say only when I looked, it was like $300.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could be wrong.
So, but here's what I don't understand. Like, people do it, and it's like one of these like bucket list items. Like, I want to go skydiving, right?
Yeah.
To have that experience, I guess. But it's, I just don't understand it. Like, no part of me wants to.
For me.
Like, I don't think I would even go up in a hot air balloon.
For me, it's just I don't know, dude. I'm just a little bit.
I guess you could argue it's something to conquer. Like, you conquered the fear of this thing, or
But I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie.
no, I'm not.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Which there's something, obviously, the adrenaline, dude. Once the door slides open, it's
There's
hit.
no turning back.
And I've had that same kind of because to conquer my fear of heights, I did a big ass roller coaster to get over. And that adrenaline, it's a little bit euphoric when it hits, dude.
Oh, I'd be scared. Like my biggest fear would be like I'd have a cardiac arrest or something, and then I'm in midair and there's nobody can save me.
That might happen to me. That could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My is way less cool than yours. Something that I've never done that I've always wanted to do that's kind of dumb that I could very easily do is I need to demonstrate this.
Okay.
I should have done it in Boston because that's the only city that I've ever had an opportunity to do it in. But I want to be on a crosswalk, okay?
Uh-huh.
And I'm walking, lights green. I can walk, right? And some guy pull up to me and I go, "Hey, I'm walking here."
just like Al Pacino it all the way.
I want to slam the hood and go, "Hey, I'm walking here." I just want to do it.
Dude, okay. I am so glad you said that.
Would that not be so cool?
So today, my random thought of the day was, what the fuck is gabagoo?
Gabagool?
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw it in The Sopranos. It didn't look that appetizing.
You know what? I Googled it.
Okay. Yeah, it's like these slices like that,
It's
right?
an Italian cut traditionally made out of cured muscle of the neck and shoulder of the pig. And here I was thinking, I don't know. I thought it was like a soup or something. Man, I was way wrong.
Okay, but so Al Pacino reminded you the movie is Scarface. He's not Italian in that movie.
The movie you're thinking of is Urban Cowboy.
Nah, he does it in Scarface.
Does he?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I'm forgetting that. But
All right. Well, anyway.
I don't know. I thought Al Pacino was Italian. I might be wrong.
I don't know if he is or not. I'm just saying in the movie Scarface, he's not Italian.
Well, yeah, I get that. But pretty sure
That's when he does it. He gets to New York City and goes, "Hey, I'm walking here."
maybe are we even thinking of the same actor?
You know what?
It
I'm
could
not
be
sure.
Dustin Hoffman.
All I know is, hang on, my wife's calling me. Hello? I'm doing the podcast right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is this of some grave importance? Okay. I literally told you, like...
Sorry, guys.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap up soon, so... All right, bye.
Well, Shay, you made it.
Dude, I'm telling you. She goes, "You weren't answering, so I thought you weren't okay." And I was like, "I told you like 2 hours ago I was doing this." Okay.
Well, at least she cares.
Yeah, but anyway, all right. Hey, you know what? Let's make it a goal to accomplish our dumb things we want to do.
Dude, if I do mine, I'm not telling you.
I'm not going with you.
No, I'm not telling you. I'm just going to send you a picture of like me midair. Like,
Okay, fine. Because if you tell me, I'm just going to try to talk you out of it.
yeah,
so.
I know.
Yeah, I will never jump out of an airplane.
Me and my
unless
dad-
I have to.
Me and my dad almost did it. Like one weekend, I was like, "Dad, we could do this." He's like, yeah. So I think
Why are you going to wrap your dad up into this?
I didn't. I told him that was something I wanted to do, and he's like, "Yeah, me too." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, but your dad's a different kind of cat. He would do it. He could do it.
Yeah, so I think I might bring a support system there.
Well, you can't go by yourself.
And
That's
I'm-
just weird.
What?
Like if you roll up to a place all by yourself and you're like, "Hey, I ain't got no friends. I just want to jump out of an airplane." Like that. No.
Yeah,
You can't go by yourself.
I can see how that would look a little weird.
Yeah. That's like, come on. What you should do first is go do one of those wingsuit simulators. That way, at least you're
Like the tunnel.
yeah, but
like
at least you're
indoor-
prepared for the free fallingness.
I just want to get the raw experience.
All right,
man.
we'll do that, man. I mean, hey, I'll just
I just want to raw dog the free falling.
raw dog the free fall.
Yeah,
huh?
man.
Okay. Do you have anything you wanted to bring up?
Oh yeah, I did actually.
All right, cool. Hit me with it.
So, I don't know if we brought this up before. We might have. Shows you how much I remember of our podcast.
Well, we've done so many successful episodes. So,
What is your most memorable Super Bowl game?
yeah, I can tell you right now.
Steelers Cardinals.
Well, that one is my most. I have two.
Okay. And then an adder to this was and halftime show.
Oh, I know this one.
Okay.
Let me answer that one first.
Okay.
The halftime show for me, okay, one should be exempt because it's the first time I saw a titty.
Same.
So we can't count that one.
Yeah, we can't. I was like 7 years old, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was in the third grade. I was like, titty. For me, it's between the Rolling Stones and Tom Petty.
Okay.
As far as the halftime show goes.
Yeah, that one was lit.
Yeah, both of them were. The two games that I'll never be able to escape are Steelers Cardinals 09.
Okay, that's a good one.
Because for a lot of reasons, but one of the big reasons, James Harrison, my favorite football player of all time.
Dude, I remember this so vividly.
He ran the 100-yard interception back, and then also you had Holmes catching the toe touch there. And then the second one was, I believe it was Ravens 49ers.
Oh, the lights out?
When the power went out.
Yeah.
And I remember, obviously, for that reason, but also I just remember it was such a beautiful day in February. We were at Timmy Stack's dad's house and fired up the grill, and we were watching, the pregame and everything through the window of the house. Like you could see the TV.
Yeah.
And they were watching that, and then the power went out, and everybody's like, "What the hell?" And then it changed like the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
And the Harbaugh brothers were coaching against each other that game, and Ray Lewis went off. And so those are the two that I remember. I also remember 2011 when the Packers beat the Steelers, but
Mine is when the Seattle Seahawks crushed the Denver Broncos. You remember that?
Yeah.
Because the opening drive to that game was a safety.
Yes.
And so like that, for whatever reason, just sticks in my head. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and the year that Prince did the halftime show, I think it was Bears Colts.
Yeah,
that was like the first time that the opening kickoff had got returned. I don't remember who did it.
Devin Hester.
Was that right?
Yeah.
And I remember when Prince was there, it was raining, and it was funny because he's playing Purple Rain, like literally in the rain. Like it wasn't a stage thing; it was just raining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I do remember that one too. Obviously, I remember Janet Jackson. I mean,
how can you forget? You know who gets forgotten about in that halftime show?
Who?
Kid Rock.
Yeah, he did do that, didn't
he came out in a big mink coat.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it said cowboy on the back, but it was him, Janet Jackson, and Justin Timberlake. But because of Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson's shenanigans, everybody forgets about Kid Rock.
I do remember Tom Petty's a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember the Rolling Stones, only because Mick Jagger is like probably 75 at this point.
I don't know, but I remember the stage was looked like a tongue.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, he slid on his knees, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I saw him in concert, man.
He's too
After
old.
that.
He's too old to be doing that.
Yeah, I know.
And he still did it.
He's an enigma.
But, I remember that. So, also, I wanted to get your Super Bowl prediction since this will air afterwards.
Yeah.
Just be brutally honest, dude.
I'm going to be brutally honest. On paper, and like if I was making smart gambling decisions, I think you take the 49ers. But
yeah, I would agree.
But this has happened before. Of course, different teams. Both teams are different. 49ers, we all thought that one year we're going to take the Super Bowl home.
Yep.
The one thing that I've said all year, and everybody's counting the Chiefs out, or at least Chiefs fans like to say that. I don't know if that was necessarily the case.
To be fair, it was a down year. We had a lot of receivers dropping balls.
Still very competitive, good team.
Yeah, that too.
The one thing is the combination for me with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, especially in crunch time playoff games, I don't see how you bet against them. I
get that. Yeah.
And they can be down 3 scores at halftime.
Dude, to me, Mahomes, he is one of the few, like, there's several great players throughout the NFL. And for me, what I love most about him is when the occasion is huge.
Yeah, he steps up.
He rises to the occasion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good game.
I think so too.
I think it's going to be a really good game. I have to work the night of the game.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to come over and hang out with you guys during the day, and then, I got to be at work.
You got to dip
later.
Do your thing.
But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really good Super Bowl, which, realistically, the past 5 or 6 have been really good. Well, actually, shit. I mean, we've had a couple stinkers. It happens.
You remember the Rams Patriots? It was literally like 10-3. It was the
Oh yeah. The Eagles Patriots, that was a good game
Yeah,
because
it was.
didn't you come over to my house?
Yeah,
to
you
watch it?
punched me in the face that night.
Was it that night?
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right. Well, we don't have to get into that.
Yeah,
But-
that's a story for another time.
But I knew I punched you in the face, but I didn't think it was a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was the Super Bowl night.
Shit, we were all pretty happy with the outcome of that game. Yeah. Well,
Hey, things happen.
things happen. Brothers punch each other sometimes.
Yeah.
You punched me before that. So
No, well, years before that.
Wow.
So I guess I had it coming.
I was getting my payback. Yeah, I don't know. Well, and then, we can talk about Super Bowls all day, but I think, we talked about this last week, but I definitely look at things a lot differently as an adult than when I did when I was a kid. Like now I remember more of the game, I think, than I do the spectacles or the commercials or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, to your point, like you were asking about Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah.
Like I think they've all kind of been shit, honestly.
Dude,
Like
to be honest, I don't remember that many.
the only one that I remember in recent years was
I do remember Shakira, though.
and J-Lo.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, they sounded really good.
It was a great performance.
Sounded really good on key whole time.
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say the Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre.
Oh, yeah, that one
was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I don't know, and this is what's crazy is maybe we're reaching this point in age where I'm saying I'm not a fan of the newer acts. Like I want the older shit because we grew up with it. Like I said,
Dude, I'm gonna tell
Tom
you right
Petty,
now,
Stones,
I'm
Prince.
I'm not looking forward to this Super Bowl.
With Usher?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
What the hell's Usher done in the past decade?
Nothing.
No.
But
What's he gonna sing? His 5 hits?
I'm going to tell you right now. When he sings "Yeah,"
We'll all
which
get hyped.
I'm just assuming is going to happen.
We'll all get hyped.
You're going to see me. I'm going to cut some.
I won't be there for it. I'll probably be at work.
Well, there might be videos. 'Cause
I hope so.
I might break loose a little bit and just.
I might do it in my office. I might, but it's just like when they announced Usher, I was like, Usher? Like Rihanna, I got because Rihanna's Rihanna. You know?
Yeah,
But I thought they did too much with that show.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a. Well, it's always a spectacle, I guess.
Well, sure, but remember when Lady Gaga freaking dove off the stadium or something? I'm like, enough.
Yeah. Did you need to do that?
And then meanwhile, years ago you had Prince just shredding the guitar, being Prince, and it's like that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Justin Timberlake killed it
Yeah. And
the second time around. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he that was the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, I think.
He got a little bit of redemption.
Yeah. Well, Janet never did.
Well, I'm pretty sure she got blacklisted.
Yeah. Well, last thing I want to say, and then we'll wrap up. I've been making really adult decisions lately, doing big boy things.
Yep.
Got a new bed.
Oh.
Good
for you, man.
King size.
Big steps then.
King size.
All right,
Dude,
all right.
It's one of those beds that came in a box.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Shaylee's been wanting a king. She's like, which I was. It's like I was all for it, except I just didn't want to spend the money for it because I was like, God damn. Because then you got to get a bed frame.
Yeah, but you gotta think they last for.
I understand.
Years
I understand.
and
But
whatever.
we just, we getting all these new appliances.
Yeah.
And so, selfishly, I wanted it too because, with our full or queen, I forget which one's bigger, but whatever.
King's bigger, but
No, I know, but I'm talking about the.
yeah. Queen's the step under.
Yeah. So I thought we had a pretty comfy bed, but both of us, like if I'm drinking and I go to bed, apparently I'm all over the place.
I guarantee you hog that bitch.
But if she's sober or drunk or whatever, she sleeps like a Vietnam vet. Like it's ridiculous.
Oh, a lot of tossing, turning.
Oh my God. And it's subtle kind of sometimes, like where like if I'm asleep, she just somehow finds a way to push me off the bed like very gradually. And so I was kind of all for this king thing. I was like, yeah, we need a bigger bed. The problem is the house itself, like the bedrooms aren't massive.
Yeah.
So when you get the bed, you got to get the bed frame. You got to get, it's like a lot of room.
Yeah.
So I said, screw it. I did it. And I didn't even tell her I was doing it. So I got the bed frame, and this bed frame came with a damn dresser and a nightstand and all this.
Oh, shit.
Can't fit it all in the room. Like my room is not as big as your room at your house.
Yeah.
You could fit it in your house. But so it all showed up the other day. And I was excited about it, I guess. But it was another one of those things. Hey, we'll be there from 1 to 3. And I was like, all right, cool. Sit around the house for 3 hours. And then they call me at like 3:45 and they're like, hey, I just saw the guy is, 45 minutes away from you. And I was like, you said 1 to 3. It's almost 4. So by the time the guy shows up, right, he's getting the big moving truck or whatever. The moment I see him step out of the truck, he steps out, instantly holds his back and hunches over. It's kind of a bigger, older guy.
No.
And he's just like hobbling to the back of the truck. And I was like,
Guy's worked his whole life.
I was like, great, I'm moving all of this in myself. And I did. I moved this massive bed frame in, this dresser, this nightstand, this bed in a box that was heavier than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, it always is.
Dude, and then I finally, and no instructions, by the way, came with this freaking bed frame.
So,
million pieces to it.
just,
I think I put it together. I don't know. I mean, it's together, but I don't know if it's correct. So anyway, this bed's wrapped up in all this plastic.
Yeah.
Take the knife, start cutting the plastic off, and then this thing is like, boom, just pops open. I was like, oh shit, we weren't prepared. So we get it all set up and everything finally, and I was like so excited to sleep on this because I was like, oh shit, like me and Shaylee laid in bed, both of us. And I was like, damn, look how much room you got. And she's like, look how much room you got. And I was like, this is going to be great. You got your room. I got my room.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, does it?
No, dude. I woke up at about 2:30 in the morning and I look over and I get like, I'm laying sideways. And so whatever the
square footage of your body is,
that's what I have on the bed. And I look over behind me and there's 6 foot of bed left. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? And so I try to shove her, and she's a hard sleeper too, and so am I, but trying to shove her over there. And so I kind of get her to move. Like eventually I nag her enough that she's like, okay. And she readjusts, right back all up on me. And then she asked me the next day, she goes, did you sleep good in that new bed? And I said, no. And she goes, me neither. She goes, I think I got to get used to the new bed. And I was like, well, would you like to know why I didn't sleep good? Because you didn't give me any of it. We paid lots of, and dude, the shit's not cheap.
Oh, no.
Fuck.
But you're also going to sleep on it for like 10 years.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of nice only having like a mattress, not a box spring to move. So like when, if you move and stuff, but I was like, my Lord, I thought this was going to be a good thing selfishly for me. And listen, we're not like, oh, every time we go to bed, we got to be all cuddly and all that.
Dude, I hate that.
I mean, probably early in our relationship. Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, for me, I get so hot in bed that I'm like, any extra heat, I just can't do it.
I radiate a lot of heat too.
Dude, me too.
That must be a guy thing, you think?
It has to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Wrapped it up. We had a lot of fun, man. This was fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Check us out on YouTube, C&D's Booze Reviews. Last week's episode's out. This is coming out on Monday, so Tuesday, this will be on YouTube. We're also on TikTok, C&D's Booze Reviews.
Anywhere you get podcasts, anywhere.
Yeah,
man.
let your friends know.
Like, share.
But we
subscribe.
definitely we've been growing. I mean, faster than I ever imagined. Slowed down there for a little bit. Now, boom, we're growing
Back up,
again.
baby.
So, really appreciate all the support, taking time out to listen to just
Two idiots,
couple
basically.
morons talk about nothing of importance. But it's been fun. And the only reason we can continue to do this is because people listen to it. So, thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Go check out High Plains Drifter or any Clint Eastwood movie for that matter. But we'll be back next week. Chase's pick. It'll be post Super Bowl.
Yep.
So we'll see what kind of a mood he's in. And
well, hopefully a good one.
got an idea what you're thinking for next week?
Not yet. Not yet.
All right, cool. Well, you got time to figure it out. But all right, bud. You need a beer. Hang on. No, you can't cheers my beer with
I was going to fist bump you.
No, we end the show a certain way every time. Come on, man. All right. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
Love you, dude.
Love you, dude.
A little less talk and a lot more action. Little less talk.
It's a little too late. I'm a little too gone.